Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of C4 Scope. Today we will be looking at Ill Mind of Hopsin 9, the ninth track in the Ill Mind of Hopsin saga. So, Hopsin came out with a new album recently, and this song was on there, but real quick, I just had to go ahead and say that I will not be reviewing his entire album due to the fact that I'm still saving myself for a certain rapper to drop a certain album because I'm still waiting on that, and I want to be able to do a full album review on that and not burn myself out on doing entire album reviews. And two, because the majority of Hopsin's latest project is centered around the same subject material as his latest Ill Mind track. So the subject material's constantly repeated throughout the album, so I myself would constantly be repeating myself, so I don't want to do that. And if you're wondering what that material is, well, the material is based around some drama that had been going on in Hopsin's life over the past year or so. See, apparently, Hopsin's girlfriend at the time became pregnant with his child, or so he thought. Evidence emerged 5 months into the pregnancy that aroused suspicions that she might have cheated on him in the past, and the child may not even be his. This revelation came about when the two were in Australia, and eventually things between the couple escalated to a point where Hopsin was forced to leave the continent and has been prevented from seeing his possible child even to this day. Now, that's the short version of it. There's obviously more stuff in between. There's more stuff to talk about, I guess, if you were super interested in what was really going on in his life, what's really going on there. And while I do really sympathize and my heart goes out to Hopsin, I'm not here to really review his life or really what's going on there. I'm honestly just here to look at his music and remove the goggles of empathy and just look at them from a critical standpoint. So, what I'm here to do today is look at his latest Ill Mind track and see if it's even worth listening to. So, let's jump right into that. Fundamentally speaking, I really don't have any major things to say about the song. I would definitely not go so far as to say that the song is so bad that it's not worth listening to. It's definitely worth checking out just for curiosity's sake, but I will go on record right now and say that it is not the best Ill Mind of Hopsin track out there. In fact, I'd rather say it's one of the weaker ones, and that is due in part to quite a few things. But first, I need to go ahead and get what's good about this song out of the way before I talk about what's bad about it. The good things about it, I like the chorus. The chorus is okay when Hopsin's doing it himself, when he's singing. Uh, Hopsin doesn't exactly have a very great singing voice, but for some reason right here, to me personally, I feel like it really works. It's ear-catching. I definitely pay more attention to it. It gets a little annoying when the child voices take over the chorus, but it's still a pretty nice chorus. I think it's kind of funny, and it works in the context of what this song is about. Essentially, the whole song is about Hopsin trying to directly communicate with his child, who is obviously an infant, is not going to understand this, so this is probably for future reference in case he never actually gets the chance to see his possible child. He speaks directly to him in the hopes that he can explain why it is that they are not together, and that Hopsin he truly cares about him, and the reason that they're not together isn't because he doesn't care. It's just because a lot of fucked up stuff has gone on in his life. There's a lot of people getting in the way of them being together, and that's all fine and good. That is actually another good thing I did want to give this song credit for, was that I enjoy the message. The message is harmless. The message is something that I actually do vie for. I really like the angle of talking directly to his child, because if you go and you listen to the album itself, the majority of the album is him constantly bitching at his ex-girlfriend, constantly bitching at people that had anything to do with him not being able to see his child. It's an interesting direction to talk to the son. That's what I'm getting at here. So I can commend him for that. And honestly, certain aspects of the song showcase what it is that Hopsin's good at. Hopsin is really good at showcasing lyrical skill. He's very lyrically skilled. So certain tidbits throughout the song, little tidbits throughout the song, showcase that lyrical ability. And that's always nice. That's always nice to see Hopsin whenever he actually does break out a good line or two. However, um, that's pretty much where the good things about the song stop. The song essentially has one good verse, and that's the first verse, where that message of talking to the sun and trying to explain to the sun everything that's happening is carried out to the fullest. Aside from that, we get right into the next two verses where everything just kind of falls apart. Getting into the bad things now, we have one, the very jumbled, the very mixed up nature of this track once we get into the second verse. And what I mean is, the song goes from being about Hopsin trying to commune with his son and tell his son how much he loves him and how much he cares and how sorry he is that they may never get the chance to see each other, to going and being about how Hopsin just starts dissing these people that had anything to do with it. He starts dissing his ex-girlfriend. He starts dissing his ex-girlfriend's mom, her parents, in general, the mom and the dad. And once it gets to that point, it's kind of like, all right, really, if you wanted to make a diss track about the parents, make a diss track about the parents, make a diss track about the ex-girlfriend, do that. I mean, he has. That's what the majority of the album is, like I said. But here, you had this one chance on this one song to just drop all that shit and just focus on talking to your son. And it's so mixed up because he'll go from talking to his son to immediately dissing either the ex-girlfriend or the parents, and then without any transition or smoothness, goes right back into talking to his son again and telling his son how much he loves him. It's really, really confusing. There's one line in the song where he's talking about his ex-girlfriend and how he's basically saying, your mom's made of plastic, she's a toy, and then the very next line is, you're my boy, you're my man, I love you, all that shit. No transition whatsoever. None. You went straight from dissing somebody, and it was like half mid-sentence. Mid-sentence, you went right into talking to your son again. That's fucked up. That's really distracting. That really gets the message mixed up. Talking about the parents, his ex-girlfriend's parents, dissing them gets the message really mixed up, because it's like, all right, you're not really painting yourself as the person we're trying to sympathize with, because who's to say that the ex-girlfriend's parents are going to treat this kid bad? They probably really like this kid, and you trying to discredit them when the kid doesn't even know them, or you don't even really understand how they're going to react to the child personally, is kind of fucked up. So Hopsin paints himself into a really bad picture in that regard. And then another thing that I think really hurts this song is that it is an Ill Mind of Hopsin track. It is one of those tracks that people have been looking forward to, and it's one of those tracks in a series of songs that are meant to be hard-hitting, or at least so lyrically gifted and have such a lyrical presence that they basically smash into the listener. Every Ill Mind of Hopsin song is essentially supposed to be a song that when you listen to it, it hits you. It hits you, and you know as soon as you're listening to it that it's an Ill Mind of Hopsin track. And here, especially after listening to the entirety of the album, doesn't really sound like an Ill Mind of Hopsin track, especially coming off of the much more gritty Ill Mind of Hopsin 8 track, which was so much more hard-hitting and so much more edgy and just so much more energized. Here, everything is really underplayed. He talks to his son, he gets mixed up and starts dissing people, and even the dissing is underplayed because he wants to try and focus on talking to his son, but he can't really focus on talking to his son because he's trying to also diss people at the same time, and it gets so jumbled and disjointed that it honestly takes me out of the enjoyment of listening to the song. And that shouldn't be what an Ill Mind of Hopsin track is. An Ill Mind of Hopsin track it should be something that grabs your ear and doesn't let go of you for the rest of the song. Here, that doesn't really happen. It has too many tangents. It has too many bad transitions. It's one of these songs that I listen to, and it makes me feel like he had an idea for what he wanted to do and almost pulled it off. He almost pulled it off, but didn't. And honestly, that's really sad, because I really expected a lot from Ill Mind of Hopsin 9, and as soon as you listen to it, I was really disappointed. I was personally very let down by this track. But then again, it's Hopsin, and he's always been one to have a half and half career. He's always been one to have a lot of stinkers and a lot of good ones. And here we just have one track that was not handled very well, and we have it botched, of course. And I think another thing that, not within the song itself, but just knowing the context behind the song it also distracts me, because the entire song he's talking to his son as if it is irrefutably his son, that he knows for a fact it's his son. And if you go and you research the topic itself, you will know that even to this day, a paternity test has not been taken, and Hobson still has no idea if the child is actually his or not. So to me personally, it just seems a little silly to make an entire song about how you're upset that you can't see your son, even though you don't really know it's yours yet. He says he's confident in it. Other songs throughout the album admit that he might not know, but that he's confident. I honest to God think that unless you have some scientific proof that proves that, you should not make a song where you claim without a shadow of a doubt that the child is yours. That's just my opinion. You guys could probably disagree on that, but that's kind of the meat of why I think this song doesn't work. It's jambled. The message is all twisted. It doesn't have the same kind of feel an Ill Mind of Hopsin track should have, and there's little to support that there's even a basis of truth for the song to stand on. And honestly, it's really not worth repeated listens. But if you were ever so curious as to what the latest installment in the Ill Mind of Saga is, here you go. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys comment down in the comment section below. Tell me what you think. Tell me, did you like the song? Did you hate the song? Tell me why. Tell me if you bought the album, if the album sucks, if it was great for you. Tell me just whatever your opinions are down in the comment section below, and I will see you guys next time.